So I'm going to be starting with Ronny Sen, who's the director and writer of Catsticks.
पहला तल्ला में गांजा और जुआ, दूसरा तल्ला में दारू, तीसरा तल्ला में पत्ता। मतलब टोटल लास वेगास बना के रखा था इसने लेक टाउन को। अब शुरू हुआ केस।
Today, I'm going to start with Ronnie, the conversation regarding, like, even I'm a filmmaker, so we're going to have some conversation regarding films, and then we're going to move on to some other topics, and then come back to also some photography because he's also a photographer. So let's start. Ronnie, welcome to the show, man. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you very much, man. Thank you very much for
Yes.
doing this.
I got to see your film finally, man. It was amazing, dude. It's really
Thank,
nice.
thank you.
So yeah, so let's start with. I'm gonna start a bit brief about yourself, and then we're gonna get into details and stuff because I just want everyone to know like where do you come from, where does the mind come from, and
Uh-huh.
then we can move on to other things. Okay. So just to start with like some bits about your early life, like where were you born and where was your childhood and everything?
So I was born in Silchar in Assam, and then I came to Calcutta because my father he always had a transferable job. So when I was I think 2 or 3 year old, we came to Calcutta, and I've been staying here since then.
Okay, okay. And then there's also a kind of a thing like how did like photography like how I want to understand basically I also want to share with other people like how does a artistic brain basically do you come to know yourself or did you like do some experiments or did someone else recognize the photographic talent in you or how was it that calling because you understand in India also there a lot of issues happen in the sense when kids want to do something on their own or something in the artistic zone. Now things are way better now 2020, but I can imagine when you were growing up or when I was growing up, it was really difficult to break that shackle from the family or to do something in the. I don't know about Bengal because I was in Jamshedpur and I'm not from a Bengal family. I'm from a UP family, so it's way more conservative and way difficult. So I just want to understand ki when was that thing that you really got to know ki I have this thing and I really want to experiment in this thing more. What age?
See, I was very far away from arts and any kind of art practice as such.
Okay.
So I'd always imagined that people who were with Jola going to Nandan, which is like the government theatre here, cinema hall. So I'd always thought that there are these people who are not exciting enough, or who are not. Uh, who are kind of boring people mostly. So I had no desire or any understanding of who an artist was or what art is. I grew up with a lot of friends who were very much into music, and internet was not there. So and even CDs and DVDs were not there. So we were we were somehow looking at uh, these interesting music videos. And these music videos from the 90s, they primarily, shaped the uh, sort of foundation, to say.
Okay.
I like paintings a lot. So I used to look at a lot of paintings. But I think photography happened much later because uh, I mean, this film Catsticks is about drugs and addiction and growing up with all these people, and many of us were part of this when we were growing up. So, uh, whenever I used to come back from a rehab, my father used to sort of give me something or the other. So there was a time when I came back from a 6 month long rehabilitation program, and he gifted me a camera, basically.
Oh wow,
That's how it
nice.
began. So that's how it began. And
Okay.
then in 2 3 years, I suddenly kind of realized that I was deeply in love with photography. Uh, it was not a uh, it was not a thing that I wanted to do. It was
Hmm.
just something that I was passing my time, and I kind of enjoyed it. And
Hmm.
I still try to hold on to that feeling more than anything else, more than a career or more than anything else. Those are the days when the madness with images had just begun, and then slowly,
Hmm.
steadily, mm, it was like a mad obsession. Like looking at thousands and thousands of images and thousands of photographers and many other things, and time just passed by. And then I realized that okay, this is something that I'm reasonably good at, and I was tired of telling people that I don't do anything, because there was a time when people used to ask, "What do you do?" and I had no answer. So then I started telling people that I'm a photographer, and yeah, so then people started believing, and I also had a certain identity. And I started feeling that okay, it's better to say that I'm a photographer. I'm saying that I don't do anything. That's how it began, and then after many years, things changed, and then from photography to films, and I'm very grateful to a lot of people because of whom I fell in love with the medium, and
Okay.
life changed.
Oh, nice, nice, nice. Coming back to Calcutta, like coming back to like this the cinema in Calcutta, like matlab, I was listening to your one of your interviews also, or maybe in some film festival you were saying, I don't remember where, but it was a very a nice thing, and I really completely agree with you. Like what it was during the 1905 and between before independence and after independence, when Mr. Satyajit Ray, and after that in 70s, Mrinal Sen, Ritvik Ghatak, in Bollywood, there were in the film industry, Hindi film industry, there was comes at least 10 to 12 Bengali film directors who were directing Hindi films, like Rishikesh Mukherjee, and there were a lot of people.
Oh.
So, and then I had always, because always Bengali cinema was considered like a world cinema, like Korean cinema, European cinema, and Bengali cinema. It was taken in the same breath. And you were in an interview, you were saying ki there has been a kind of decline and death. It's like a dead city. It's like a lot of things have been dead, like which were like it was always the art and art literature and literature capital, Calcutta in India at least. No, so I'm saying like there are independent directors like you and Aditya Vikram Sengupta who made Asha Jaur Maje and Jonaki.
Uh-huh.
So, what do you have to say about the decline and the cinema, what it was, and what can we do to like save it or bring it back? Is it the audience or is it the producers, distributors? Where do you think the fault lies? Why is Bengali cinema being like this? Why? What do you think about it? Why has it reached like this? From where to where?
I think see, cinema is very much about the commerce also, you know,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
there are 2 3 ways of looking at it. One is definitely, uh, I mean, Calcutta was at one point the capital of India, and it was the advertising capital.
Hmm.
It was the publishing capital. I mean, a lot of theaters, a lot of film, and a lot of music used to happen. And there was a big industry and there was a big market. So that slowly kind of declined. And what the eastern part of the country uh, uh, was during independence, that kind of changed. And after India's independence, the industrial belt also started slowly shifting to the west. And a lot of industries started shutting down, and uh, that also had an impact on culture, and mass medium like cinema also suffered substantially. So I think that was one reason for which there was less uh, money which was kind of spent on film, or the industry, it kind of became smaller. And as far as these parallel films or art house films are concerned, till the 70s it was great. From the 50s or the 60s, uh, 50s, 60s were fantastic because Satyajit, or mostly Satyajit Ray was showing all over the world and winning back-to-back prizes in all these festivals. Uh,
Hmm.
so the
Venice,
60s especially were great. Like he would win best film in Venice in 1 year, and the next year he will uh, go and win the best director in some other festival like Berlin, and so that was the situation. But the festival world was also slightly different back then. Unlike today, where in the 50s or the 60s, what used to happen was if one film was shown in Venice, it could also be shown at Locarno or Cannes or Berlin. It doesn't happen like that anymore today,
yeah,
because if one film is played in one major festival, the others don't really
yeah,
take it. But then again, that's a separate issue. But
yeah.
the decline of good work happening in Calcutta uh, is not
Political.
only it's not only kind of limited to film. I think it's the same with literature or theater or music. Uh, I mean, one also has to see that the time when people like Satyajit Ray was making films, or Ritika or Mrinal Sen were making films, there were great people in theater like Utpal Dutt, and there were Utpal Dutt was there was Shambhu Mitro. In literature, there was, stalwarts. Uh, Naming one or two people will not do justice. There were stalwarts,
Yes.
poets, great poets, great painters, from Ram Kinkor to so many others, Vikas Bhattacharya, So there was Shokti
They-
Chattopadhyay writing poetry, and I mean the 60s and the 70s were a great time. So slowly all of that started. I mean there was a degeneration of everything by the
Do
80s and
you
90s,
do
and
you
yeah. So in the last couple of years, we see that some little stuff is happening, uh,
hmm.
but it's nothing. It's not so special or so big that it can be called, a movement or anything like that. And this is, I mean, we were having a discussion with. There was a roundtable a couple of months back in Calcutta in a festival, and uh, we were
Rajiv
having the
Masan?
same discussion. And we were having the same discussion, and I also said that whatever is happening in India right now, as far as contemporary practice is concerned, it's too early to say if this will have any impact, or if at all
Hmm.
it has any impact on anything. You know, it's
Yeah.
too early to say.
Yeah, yeah. But do you think there was any political reason since like the 70s the CPI party came to Calcutta and they were here ruling for 35 years. So do you think that has an impact because financially also a lot of companies, Raymonds and Birlas, they all left and went set up shops in Bombay. So,
It has nothing to do with the left coming in Calcutta. I don't
no, I
think
mean,
so. Ah.
okay. I mean to say the
Because that's
financial
exactly what
part.
I said in the beginning. That see, the money which was coming in Calcutta, the industrial belt which was here in the eastern part, that shifted after independence. That went to other areas like Maharashtra, Gujarat, etc. At
Okay.
the western front of India. So
Okay.
that shift changed everything. It was not because left was here and left was doing something for which industries couldn't come in. I don't think that's correct because the economic policies of the left has been no different than any other party in India. For example, the economic policies of Congress government, uh, it's mostly the same. I mean, there were more social welfare measures by a state government. So the left was never in a central government to do anything substantially, anyways. So they had
Uh,
always encouraged private capital. So it was not a big deal. I mean, there was slightly lesser taxation on the people of Bengal, and
hmm.
there were some social welfare measures. Other than that, there was nothing really radical. We didn't become China or Vietnam or stuff like that. I mean, we were still part of India and we had a left government here. That's it. I don't think it has
Okay.
any. But what the left did was that it systematically destroyed all the cultural icons of the city. The left did
Okay.
nothing to preserve uh, all these icons that I'm talking about. So
Okay.
I don't really blame the left, but it's more
Okay.
of a generic uh, degeneration of the
Hmm.
Bengalis at large, which include people
Hmm.
from all different,
Hmm.
political, be it the Congress, whatever, the CPIM or anyone. In
Yeah. Yeah.
It's really, really, this dying is not sudden. I mean, there has been, all these cultural icons have been systematically killed and butchered, and so that's the reason that we see what we see today in Bengal. This
Okay.
this entire sham of Calcutta being the cultural capital, it means nothing. It's absolutely
Hmm.
rubbish.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay. So, so you try so you are coming to the point that it's at the end of the day it's about the producers and the directors whose intention or whose point of view, whatever, it's there. Maybe just because of them it has lacked, or and there's no other influences. Like there should have been more motivated people producing and directing throughout. Then we would have had
No,
a
I
great
don't think
time.
so. No, I don't. I don't think there has been a lack of talent as such. I think the
Okay.
government and the gatekeepers in Bengal have severely failed, which they are still failing. So it's up to them. Why is the art market so concentrated in a place like Delhi? Because there is a massive government support there. Uh,
Hmm.
and even if you forget about the central government, the the other embassies are there, and there's a lot of monetary help which goes into the kind of ecosystem a place like Delhi has. Uh, the film industry is a separate matter uh, in a place like Bombay because obviously it's the Bollywood and it's a very different game altogether. But in Bengal, we could have done a lot more. We could have
Hmm.
done a lot more. Say all the Bengalis that you see are very nostalgic about all these names that I have told you from the 60s and
Yeah.
70s. But the
Yeah.
fact remains that the same Bengalis have done nothing at all to preserve their work, to show their work, to do anything with the work that they have produced. So, I mean, all the Satyajit Ray films or Ritik Ghatak films or all of these films were restored not in Bengal or in India, they were restored outside the country. Uh,
Yeah.
the cinematographer of Satyajit Ray nobody knows what happened to him. The man, Subroto Mitra, who gave the world the idea of bounce slide, so many things. He was one of the most, technically advanced and aesthetically more superior than many other cinematographers in the world back then. I mean, nobody knows what happened to him, and the state had no interest to do anything about his work or to preserve his work or to talk about his work. So, and the same applies to everybody else. Hmm. So the governments could have done more, which they couldn't. And even today, it's the same thing. It's no different.
Like,
And
yeah,
these
because
names like Subroto Mitra is just one. In every field, there are so many people who have been who have had no support of any kind. And these are the people who are these people? These have been people who have always been away from the mainstream commercial, uh, you know, market, and
limelight.
they kept continuing making their work. And they never received any support from the government. They don't receive, and even today, all the artists who are making work, which doesn't really fit into the mainstream narrative, they never get any kind of support.
Okay.
Say in
Like,
Germany they have given 50 billion euro grant to the artists.
how much? Sorry, how much?
50 billion euros.
Oh.
A grant to the artists during this time.
Okay.
So
Oh,
in
wow.
India, you can't even imagine something like that. Forget about state funding. Like even the private organizations who have so much of money, and there is so much of CSR money, nobody has given a single penny for uh, I mean, arts is a very neglected area in India. So I was just looking at a documentary a couple of days back on Bismillah Khan, made by Gautam Ghosh. And if you look at the way that man lived, this man was given Bharat Ratna. What kind of support did he get from the Indian state, for example? So even if you look at Satyajit Ray, what kind of state support did he really get? Or
Nothing.
for example, Ritik Gaurav. How did Ritik Gaurav die? So these are very harsh realities. Now, if you talk to any big filmmaker in this country, or any big producer, or any big MP, MLA, everybody is proud about Ritik Ghatok and all of these people. You talk to anybody in Bengal today, you talk to any big MP, MLA, anyone, and they drop the name of Ritik Ghatok in the drop of a hat all the time. That these are the cultural icons. Now, if you go back and check what these governments did when he was alive, you will know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or for example, what kind of support did somebody like a Ram Kinkar have? So this is a man who's making sculpture in front of the Reserve Bank of India to everything. But as far as like, artists also have to live and eat and pay rent and stuff.
Exactly.
Anyways.
Yeah. Yeah. No, also like film, like because filmmaking is also a kind of a lot of very expensive. It's not like a painting; you just do it on at your home. So it is a mixture of art and commerce that I think people need to understand. Like governments need to really understand and maybe pull their socks up. But also, just one more question regarding the same thing. I don't know. I've been here for some time, 2, 3 years. I was in Bombay before that. So there was this observation. You can tell me if it's right or if it's wrong. Like, do people out here get really, because if someone has set a bar, like for Saurav Ganguly, he was the captain of India and very good player and captain and everything. Satyajit Ray, so everyone gets maybe so enamored by them that they just keep looking at them and they never try to reach their. Are you getting it? They only talking and talking about the best cricketer in from Bengal, best filmmaker from Bengal. They only keep talking. How can the youth of Calcutta and Bengal like cross that barrier of family, of society, and other things, and then just connect with their art, connect with their soul to create something rather than because there's so much of like if I go to North Calcutta, things haven't changed. They're 100-year-old, same houses, everything is same. So do you think that also kind of affects the psychology of a person because you're staying in an old house, you're not seeing something new, you're not doing anything new, you're just stuck in a cage kind of a thing. So do you think these things, how can the youth like really break out of it? Because even parents at times say ki, you want to be a filmmaker, like we have Satyajit Ray, we have this, like the comparison only scares them. It's like the starting point is only, oh, I can never reach there. It's too big. The so what do you have to say on that? How can the youth of who is between 17 to 24 today in Calcutta, Bengal, break these shackles and come out?
See, primarily all the talented girls and boys from my generation who have been pursuing arts, 99.9% of them have left the city. So there are very few people like me who still stays in Calcutta, pays rent here because it's cheap, and all my friends are here, and I don't need to survive on local work. So
Hmm.
somehow I have survived. But most of my friends, they have left. They have left and they have gone to places like Bombay and Delhi or New York or London and so on. A lot of people are. A lot of people come back to Calcutta once in a while to meet their parents, and that's about it.
Okay.
So until and unless there is a system to monetize people's talent, I don't see any reason people can stay back in the city. So eventually, if this is a city which ends up becoming like a city like Detroit, how will people survive? What is the ecosystem under which people will survive? That is more important. Say, anyone who is between 17 to 24, how can I tell a person to stay back in Calcutta? I'll tell them to go to other cities where there are opportunities where they can work. You know, so it doesn't make sense. Nostalgia, romanticism, this doesn't pay bills. And everybody can't be lucky like me, you know. I've been super lucky to somehow find a balance between many other things that I do. And so I'm a filmmaker, I'm a photographer, and my needs are not so much also. So I somehow have managed to survive. Now, most of the people, they can't survive here. It's impossible.
You saying the government has to step in to maybe keep the culture alive because culture over here is mostly just being remained to Durga Puja and all the Bengali culture. But I think art and literature is also a very big part of this place. It is, and then was or maybe. So I think you like we can only plead to the government or maybe some ecosystem has to be designed for people to do some. And I think people have to appreciate also. The audiences have become less appreciative also of Bengali art and cinema. What do you think? People's
See,
also.
I mean, what will they appreciate if there is no work which is being produced? What are they going to see and what are they going to appreciate anyways?
True,
And I
true,
don't
true.
think in a digital age like today there is anything which is confined to being just a Bengali work or by a Bengali artist. Those kind of cultural identities have gone. These things don't exist anymore.
Okay.
So, and in any case, I'm not very interested about this tag of being somebody from Bengal. I mean, for me, Satyajit Ray was not a Bengali film. Of course, he made films in Bangla, but that man doesn't belong to Bengal alone. That man belongs to the whole world. You know,
True, true.
say somebody like Amartya Sen who got a Nobel Prize, that man doesn't belong to Bengal. That man belongs to the whole world. The way work which is being made here, how they can be preserved, how they can be nurtured, how they can be monetized, how talented people can stay back in the city is something the gatekeepers here have to look at. The galleries and the whatever, industrialists and the politicians and the state government, it's their prerogative. They have to do things so that people stay back in this city. And
Hmm.
that can't happen without money. And I mean, we can all whine and cry and complain. But the fact remains the government is in no position to do anything, to be honest.
Okay.
They don't have the money.
Hmm. 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 Hmm.
They don't
Okay.
have the money. And whatever private, uh, I mean, uh, the private patrons who used to support a lot of work, I mean, obviously, if the entire population had a certain degeneration, the audience had a degeneration, then the private patrons also had a degeneration. They also like a certain kind of stuff, uh, which has no. The artists who are nurtured here are people who can go suck up to these people with money, and their tastes are also like that. Very tacky, very provincial, but they like it, and that's how it is. And there are numerous
Okay.
such people. There are numerous such people who make a decent amount of money, but then their work has no credibility outside the geographical boundary of Calcutta. So they don't care.
Hmm.
Any
Okay.
filmmaker who has done reasonably well in Bengal in the last 10 years, any filmmaker or artist or whoever, like musician or painter or sculptor, anyone who has any kind of reasonable work or body of work who have done something, in the context of, you know, uh, the, I mean, the bigger scenario is concerned, has nothing in the context of Calcutta. They get no support. They absolutely get zero support.
So let's move on from this. We got a lot of insight into it for people to discuss about it from your point of view. So I'll move on to the film Catsticks. So I think how is like it's even for the audiences and even for like budding filmmakers, like can you give us a bit, you can tell us a bit about movie, like what do you think, like you got a good deal and you got like, is it a good thing for future filmmakers, like this app movie?
I mean, see, movie is a nice uh, platform, and the model they have is interesting because every day they take one film and every day they drop one film. So it has a model where you get to see 30 films in a month and 365 films in a year. So what happens is that you have a platform where the films which they play are nicely curated, number one. And number two is every film has a life, it doesn't get lost. So these are two things which, in my mind, I think that these are very, um, these two things are interesting for any filmmaker to have their work on movie. So, also we need to see how long they can survive. It's a tough, brutal world, and everything is numbers in today's time and age. And the online world, what it was 3, 4 years back, is not the same what it is today. So we have to see how long they can survive. So that's a big challenge.
Okay. And something about like Shreya, like how did you have that's her first feature film also, I guess. Like first of all, did you know her before that? Before you guys shot the film, and also what was the kind of discussions you had? And majorly, everyone must have seen the trailer by now. So black and white. Why black and white? And also, what were the kind of discussions before you guys started filming? What were the some rules that you set with each other, and why Shreya? You knew her from before, not?
Yeah, I knew Shreya from before. And when we started working on the film, I was looking for a cinematographer who could understand the logic of black and white, and it's not easy to shoot in black and white. It's not easy to shoot in color, but then what I'm trying to say is black and white has its own logic, and black and white has its own rules.
Storytelling aspect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so everything has to be designed for uh, the black and white. I mean the shapes, the form, the texture, everything depends on uh, what we are going to get at the end. And uh, there are very few cinematographers who exactly know how to really look at a black and white. So that's how I mean, me and Shreya, we had shared a lot of. I mean, we shared similar taste in terms of the photographers we liked and things like that. And
Some
he did a
discussions before.
fantastic job.
Yeah, some kind of I'm just trying to understand the point where you guys like discuss ki we're not gonna have many tripod shots, or we're not gonna have very moving shots, like some discussions if you can share with us, like apart from the black and white, but just shooting style and just the feel of it.
Uh, See, the thing is, I mean, we did Recce together, and then it's the same as any director and DOP would work, I mean, we like a particular location and we want to shoot it there. So she would say what kind of lighting she's thinking, and there were many, other different conversations, around it. So there was nothing specific that I can say, but
Okay.
it was very effortless and seamless. We never really struggled too much for anything, you know.
Okay.
In any
Okay.
location we went, and we had a consensus on what we liked and what the actors can deliver, because our workshops ran for a very long time. We did our workshops for months. So we knew exactly what they are going to do, and then we planned it accordingly. And then Devika Dave was there, who was our production designer. So she
Hmm.
also she had a big role in the way the film looks. Uh, so we had to sort of plan things accordingly.
Okay. So yeah, I'll tell everyone, like Shreya, the DOP, and Devika, the production designer, their work was amazing. You guys have to look out for that. Lot to learn from there. And Ronnie, so something about like were you a born writer, or like this thing? I know this story is very personal to you, and you dedicated to your friends and everyone. So do you think you wrote this? This script could come out because you've lived it, or you've always been a writer?
No, I've never been a writer, but I've been doing journalism for almost 15 years now. So uh, I, because of the kind of work I had to do, I had to really work on, I think, for commissions, like hundreds and hundreds of stories in different parts of India and elsewhere. So it was not something I was doing new, but yeah, writing for a film was something I did for the
Different.
first time. Huh.
Okay.
But
So
yeah, of
no,
course. I mean, these are people I knew. I mean, these were characters who were very close to my heart, and I knew exactly the way they spoke. I exactly knew where they came from. What kind of language they speak in, their vocabulary, their idiosyncrasies, their strength, weaknesses, their vulnerabilities, everything. What action would have what kind of feeling, what kind of emotion. What are the manifestations of uh, you know somebody who's in a withdrawal, and what I mean, I knew all this. I grew up with, like, these hundreds of junkies in Calcutta, so it was not something that I had to struggle. I had to struggle to put together everything. I had to struggle to find a common thread with which we could weave all the stories. So the rain and the black and white, and the fact that everything happens on one night, these were foundations on which the story was built, right? from the scratch.
Okay, and see, a lot of people are, most of our people are unaware, or most people are like kind of scared into venturing out into screenplay writing. I want to focus there a bit because a lot of people are interested in filmmaking and being a DOP, editor, whatever. But I think the foundation of any film is the script, the screenplay, and
Yeah.
everything else matters. On everything builds on that. And so, like how we were talking previously about the lack of good films being made and good cinema coming out of Bengal and also Bollywood. There are films being made, but the scripts are like really pathetic. There are only four,
Yeah,
five which you
but
can
then,
count. With
yeah, true. But then, I mean, but then these are all narrative films. Now, I mean, all films do not need to have spectacular script and, there are many different kinds of films which are being made all across the world, which have been made before. Script and writing is only a part of the filmmaking process. There is much more to it. So I think everyone has to, not everyone, but I think for me, it's not one way. You know, I think it's many other things which make a film, and to basically look at film as an art form, one has to escape from the clutches of realism, and it has to find new grounds. It's 2020, so you open a whatever. I mean, the kind of stuff that is being made today, it is many don't follow that. I mean, many of them don't follow that narrative structure. So telling a story is not the job of every film. There are many other things, and I think we need to look at these things, and we need to appreciate. I think many other things. Say if a painting doesn't have the burden of telling a narrative story, then I don't think a film also needs to have that burden of telling the story which has a narrative arc and all of that. It is not important. I think
okay,
anyone
okay,
who is walking into a museum to watch a painting uh, should walk into a theater with the same kind of feeling while they're looking at a film. I think it's too much to ask, but it's a good point to
yeah,
start.
yeah. Maybe we can start with good scripts and then turn it into art forms. At least let this good scripts come because true,
In
true,
a
true.
system which inherently uh, uh, encourages a studio and star system, how will you encourage good writing? It is not possible. It depends on the monetary system. It depends. It has a big economics behind it. It has a
Hmm.
business model behind it. And it's absolutely fine. People making money out of films, there's nothing wrong in it. All I'm saying is that films at large, it's a medium, and it should be looked at. It should be looked at as a medium primarily. It doesn't mean that we are at war with this. Absolutely not. The thing is,
Hmm.
if you look at the American audiences or European audiences or many other places, you will see that many things can coexist. In India, things don't coexist. That is a problem. Like you
Okay,
will you
okay.
will find a David Lynch film on a Netflix.
Hmm.
You will not find you will not find a Moneyball film on Netflix, for example. I'm not saying Moneyball is David Lynch. I'm just saying that people
Yeah.
in India who use the film as a medium and who look at films as a art form, they also need to coexist. And
Okay.
I mean, people have to give them space.
Yeah. But and also, what do you have to say on the part where unknowingly or unknowingly being like I have being a child looking at cinema, what like do you believe in the part that it does have the power to influence societies and mass thought processes and
Of
thinking,
course.
like after
Yeah,
how DDLJ
yeah, of course it does. It has a big role to play. I mean, I think the
and
fact that India is still a secular country, a large part of it goes to mainstream Bollywood films.
okay.
Whatever, uh, whatever, I mean, is happening in India as far as the aggression of right-wing politics uh, uh, coming all in front of us in the last 10 years or so, the fact that India has still managed to hold on to its core secular fabric and it has been able to preserve it. A big part of that goes to Bollywood. Whatever I was saying about Bollywood, now the fact
Hmm.
is that if the common man stops watching Bollywood, I don't think
Hmm.
how long can remain a secular republic.
As a filmmaker, what can you recommend? Like, what can they do to kind of cross that barrier and maybe write more and maybe at least understand screenplay and direction? So, few things you can recommend so that people can be theoretically be can work on it, but once things open up, then practically they can practice. So, what will you recommend to the people? How can they cross this barrier of actually doing it rather than just being in the thought?
See, I think I think everybody doesn't need to be a filmmaker or an artist, primarily.
Hmm.
In any case, there are too many people doing too many things, and there is a lot of clutter, anyways. I don't think until and unless you can't do, I mean, until and unless that desire to do is so much that you are going crazy, I don't think people need to do it on the first place. So,
Hmm. Okay.
uh, uh, it should be like, there is something that you want to say at the top of your voice from your terrace in your house. If somebody has something like that to say, then they can try and say that. So for me, any work is extremely biological. It has to have a good reason to be told. So that is number one, and number two is to find themselves. I
Hmm.
For me, any work needs to be deeply personal, and one has to reflect on what is happening. So to find
Okay.
that, it takes a long time. And the other thing is, uh, you know, uh, I also realize that it's okay to fail. It's okay to be mediocre.
Yeah.
It's okay
Yeah.
to not do things perfectly. Uh, it's okay to not be successful. What is important is to
Hmm.
accept this as a way of life and keep making work, which can't stop. Good, bad, worse, trash, very good, excellent. These can all happen. But one has to continue working, is what I deeply believe in, and this is something that I've done. So that's what I can tell people, that I've not waited for
Hmm.
anyone. I've not waited for anything to happen, and then I will start doing this, or someone will like my work, and then I will do that, and someone will give me a go ahead, and then I will do it. I have never waited for
Hmm.
anyone. So that is the same
Hmm.
thing that I tell people, that I mean, if you feel that desire in your gut, and if it is strong, then please go ahead and do it. Uh,
Hmm.
so yeah, I
Yeah.
think that is the most important, to keep doing more than anything else.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everything else, but one has to keep
Yeah.
doing it, keep working, no matter what. Keep working on things.
Yeah. That's a good thing. Like, because in India also there's so much of inferiority complex that is filled up in
It's
everyone,
everywhere,
that
man.
people
It's
keep.
everywhere. Everywhere. Every country.
Yeah.
Human beings are the same. Everywhere is
Hmm.
the same. It's no
Hmm.
different in India. But it is important to keep doing. That's the
Okay.
toughest thing to do.
Hmm. Because they keep seeking validation all the time कि मैं कर सकता हूँ कि नहीं. If a friend approves, then they do it. Validation
नहीं, वो
में
तो
ही खो
रहेगा
जाते
वो.
हैं.
नहीं, वो तो मैं भी बहुत इनसिक्योर हूँ. मैं भी बहुत जेलस हूँ. मैं भी बहुत सैड हो जाता हूँ. मेरे को भी बहुत सेल्फ डाउट होता है. मुझे भी लगता है कि मैंने जो किया अच्छा नहीं किया. शायद इससे और अच्छा हो
Hmm.
सकता था. जो जायज बात है. लेकिन
Hmm.
मुझे पता है कि मैं अगर काम नहीं करूंगा तो मैं मर जाऊंगा. तो मेरे को काम करते
Hmm.
रहना है. तो किसी को अच्छा
Hmm.
लगे, बुरा लगे, घटिया लगे, मेरे को अच्छा लगे, घटिया लगे, whatever what I've done in my past, I'm really embarrassed about it. So I don't update my website in like years and years and years, and I don't show the work also. Yeah, recently a
Okay.
friend of mine had done in 2007 or 8, and I told this person कि भाई मेरे को अभी शर्म आता है ये काम दिखाने में. लेकिन ठीक है, किसी दूसरे को शायद अच्छा लग गया, हो सकता है ऐसा. उसमें कोई बात नहीं है.
Hmm.
लेकिन
Hmm.
देखिए, मैं आज क्या कर रहा हूँ वो ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है. कब क्या हो गया देखो, 200 साल 300 साल तो जिएंगे नहीं. तो आधा
Hmm.
जिंदगी तो हो गया. देयर इज नो पॉइंट प्लानिंग फॉर अ लाइफ व्हिच इज गोइंग टू लास्ट 300 इयर्स.
Hmm.
तो वो फटाफट हो सकता है, वो बेटर है.
So I would just like to tell everyone, please, everyone, go and watch Catsticks on MUBI. And Ronnie has done a fantastic job. It's his debut film.
Please just like, share, subscribe.